welcome to this episode of Them Smith Boys. I hope everybody's having a good week. How you doing, Junior?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's we've been away for a little bit. I know we supposedly did it last week, but my oldest daughter, we had a surprise birthday party for her. So,
Hey, let's go ahead and be honest,
so
man. Hey, March Madness started last week, a few weeks ago. So look, we wanted to catch some of the basketball games. That's what it's really about.
yeah, yeah, that too. Yeah, we get a little bit of you got that little bit of interference.
Okay, that's
Okay,
okay.
it is.
I can still hear
Yeah,
you.
it was March Madness said that too, right?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, you got me now.
Yeah, I got you now. You
Yeah,
back? You back?
yeah,
So go ahead and start it
cool,
off.
cool. Yeah, yeah. March Madness was going on too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And look, still going on for some people. Uh, if you're a Carolina fan anyway and Duke fan, it's still going on.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt about that. Um, so before we get started, we would like to pay homage to our father, uh, James W. Smith Sr., aka Fats. Um, yeah, he went by
Yeah.
Fats, but he passed away exactly 10 years ago today. Um, and I guess there are a lot of things that I can say, but the one thing is, without a doubt, there's some things that, and we kind of talked about it before. There are some things that I was taught at a young age in my formative years that kind of impacted the way that I see the world, the way that I approach life, um, and I, there's no doubt about it. I owe it all to him.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I think that growing up early on in our early years, the way having the chores listed on the wall,
Hmm.
uh, um, having the high expectations for education,
Yeah.
things like that. Those definitely set a foundation for us. If I can, I don't know if I could think of one quintessential daddy. I don't know if you remember this or not, but we had some chores to do, and we had supposed to do them during the day. You know how we go out playing with our cousins, too, dog baby,
Hmm.
all our cousins up the road and everything. You know what happened? The day get by, then you go to bed without doing the chores,
Hmm.
and Daddy was working night shift,
Yeah.
and I think Daddy got in around maybe 12 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
And we supposed to cut the grass in the yard, supposed to
Hmm.
pick the we ain't do nothing.
Yeah.
Man, 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Get up, get up. Man, we
Yeah.
out there in the dark, man. First of all, he's on the porch with a drinking coffee with a flashlight.
Hmm.
We up there picking up trash and cutting wet grass,
No, I look.
cutting grass in the dark. But if I could think of one story that kind of sums it up, he didn't give us a whooping, but getting up 12 o'clock at night, cutting wet grass and picking up those are the type of things, those things
Yeah.
that kind of sticks with you. But yeah, definitely we could do a whole show
Yeah.
on that. But yeah, definitely we have to acknowledge because a lot of our personality, I don't know, good or bad sometimes. I
Yeah.
don't know how we want to look at it.
Yeah.
Being opinionated, being confident in what you know, and
Yeah.
things of that nature. Not being afraid to speak up, speaking your mind, being your own man, being
Yeah.
true to yourself. Definitely we got that from Dad, no doubt about it.
Um. So it's a lot that's going on right now in the world.
Oh
Um.
well,
it
yeah. Oh,
is a
I don't know where to start.
there's a lot that's going on, but before we start, we got to go with we got to talk about Will and Jada. So for some of you all who don't know, I don't want to make light out of this subject. Uh,
Yeah.
but we're gonna talk about it. So firstly, if you haven't got a chance to see it, I'm just gonna play a little video for you.
New joke going around. Have you heard it? What is the five fingers say to the face? What? Slap!
Actually, I'm sorry, that was the wrong video. that was that was, that, man, that was the wrong video. Let me go to the right
Get the
video.
right one.
Let me go to the right one.
Okay.
I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh.
Everybody hates Chris.
All righty.
That's cringeworthy, man. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I initially thought it was staged. I thought it was kind of like a prop or something like that, just part of an act or whatever. But once all the details begin to come out, and you saw Mr. Smith in the audience, dropping the F-bomb,
Yeah.
Unhinged, and then later on, when we found out that the Academy actually asked him to leave.
Yeah, we just found that out today. Yeah.
We found out today, to ask him to leave, and he refused and everything. Then we found out it was very real. So so many ways you can go with that. But here, my initial thoughts. I think it was unfortunate for, first of all, that African Americans have been fighting a while, to get proper recognition at the Oscars, to have our stories told and things of that nature. And, I think, if I'm not mistaken, please, people out there correct me, I think this was the first time that it was actually an all African American production crew led by Mr. William Packer.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, on a night where Samuel Jackson finally got recognition for all of his work. We can do a show right now in every movie he's been in.
Yeah.
Questlove, his and things of that nature. Unfortunately, I think that it was kind of overshadowed by this here. So that's the part I hate about it, is that people who, and unfortunately for Will Smith too, at the pinnacle of his career, to have something like that happen, to kind of tarnish his legacy as well. So that's very unfortunate. That's my first thought. I'll wait for my second thought later.
Yeah, I agree. When I first saw it, I thought that was I thought it was a joke. And then once you heard the cursing, I think that when you look at some of the reactions of the crowd, you can kind of see that there was definitely a little more going on than what we initially thought. So I would tell you my initial thoughts. My initial thoughts when I saw it, I said that what would cause a man to walk up on stage, national television, probably one of the biggest events of the year, international, and slap Chris Rock. Obviously, something had to have snapped. And I know a lot of people talk about protection, talk about ego and something like that. But there was definitely something in my mind that was going on with Will Smith, a culmination, and we can talk about mental health and all those things. But what I do know from experience is that if you keep things balled up inside, at some point it's going to manifest itself, and most of the time it doesn't manifest itself in a productive manner. So that was my initial thought. I'll let you go ahead, Junior, and talk about your second one.
Well, first thing I find that I don't know. I find it hard pressed to believe. Chris Rock is not the biggest dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Or would he have done the same thing? But that's all speculation.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it has spurred a conversation about everybody saying, well, at least he he protected his woman, and that's how you do. You're supposed to protect the woman and things of that nature. But in reality, what it was, man, you had one multimillionaire who slapped another multimillionaire in front of an audience full of a bunch of multimillionaires. And the thing is, in that world, when you try to fix it, you get your publicist
Yeah.
to try to fix everything that's broken. In these, look, in the average income streets, regular folk,
Yeah.
I've learned, it's a lot more to lose. So you can't use it as an example when somebody disrespect your woman, go up and slap them. I can't do that in my streets, or in my day to day, because the consequences are different. Sometimes you protect your woman just by walking away.
Yeah. But I guess that brings to the question, because there is a lot of chatter, and some people. Chris Rock said that he did not know that she had alopecia. I personally don't think, and this is just what I thought. I thought it was a joke, and I thought it was a good joke. I didn't personally think that he was. I think he just saw her with the bald head, and he just thought about G.I. Jane. I mean, he didn't mention her disease or her ailment by name. I mean, he just kind of said G.I. Jane, and when you look at the initial videos, both Jada and Will Smith were both laughing. I mean, Will Smith was laughing in the beginning, so
she was kind of taken aback originally, but the thing is, I've seen Chris Rock going a whole lot harder.
Yeah,
that was pretty tame to elicit that reaction.
Yeah, but then also, Junior, you think about all the years that they've been going to all these awards and stuff like that. Oftentimes, think about how many times that they laughed at jokes that were made about other people. I mean, right. It's only when it's in its, whether real or perceived, that it was under the belt or punching down low. You're in that environment. I think it's par for the course.
Yeah, and another thing too is, you can't put yourself out there on Front Street like that too. Yeah. I mean, the red table with the August Hussein, that stuff, you can't listen. You can't. You can't go out there. I'm telling them what they can and can't do. If you're in that, celebrity status, and you go out there and put those type of things out there for the world to see, of course there are going to be memes. Of course there are going to be jokes and things of that nature. That's part for the course. So to get up on stage and all to say, I can't take it. This is the life you chose, unfortunately. Things aren't fair. Some of the wounds are self-inflicted. Yeah. But I think the initial apology, I think it was kind of weak, because you owe Chris Rock that apology.
Correct.
But definitely, it seems that Chris Rock is the one coming out looking like the hero, sort of. That he was able to hold his composure. I don't know too many men that can hold your composure after getting slapped like that on stage.
Yeah.
In front of everybody. So kudos to him for not just falling apart, just walking off, or having a visceral reaction.
Yeah.
But please listen. Anybody that's seeing this as an example of how to protect your woman, don't. This is not the way to do it, because you're not a millionaire. The consequences are different out here in these average income regular folk streets.
Yeah. But I guess we have to talk about what it means to be what protection means, because again, I saw a lot of posts with particularly in our community, that's saying that if you don't protect me like Will Smith did, then I don't want that type of so things of that nature. But I think the word protection, and I mentioned it one time, it's a little bit ambiguous, because I look at it, and I just looked at it for what it's worth. There was no one in danger. Jada Smith, other than maybe her pride, and she was not in danger. She was not in any physical danger. So I don't, in my mind, I don't view that as the example that we want to set, and
Yeah.
about what it means to protect your spouse. Because you're right, you mentioned in those average income streets, um, yeah, you just never really know what people could have. I mean, you could your life could be ended, if you run
Yeah.
up on the wrong person.
Or the right person, right?
Yeah,
The right, how you want to look at it. Yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whoever said that, that you want that Will Smith kind of love. No, you don't want that Will Smith. You don't want that Will Smith kind of love because you don't got Will Smith resources.
yeah, yeah,
If they're right now, I think they're talking about voting the academy, giving him consequences, possibly being expelled, right?
yeah.
Expelled from the academy, things of that nature. He ain't gonna starve.
No, he's not gonna starve. Uh,
He's good to go. You know what I'm saying? And another thing is, like I said, the best way to, if you want to protect your, if we're having that conversation in the African American community, if you want to protect your woman, stay alive,
yeah,
you know, um, stay employed. Don't slap the boss that say something crazy.
yeah,
Don't slap the coworker. Yeah, stay employed.
yeah,
Be around for your people. That's the best way to um, protect them. Another thing too is your your woman is a wise one, is not going to put you in a position where you have to do something like that.
Come on now,
Uh,
come on now,
hey, hey, come on
come on
now.
now, come on now.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, so of course, we both have attractive wives, and I'm sure that I'll be foolish to think that some men may not say something untoward to them or make an approach at them regardless.
Yeah,
They not gonna run to and say, James, that guy walked at the store. He right now he come and said something to me. He told me,
yeah,
such and such. What what I'm saying? No,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
they're not gonna that
yeah,
wisdom. So
yeah,
I think the people who are saying that that they want that Will Smith or that's what they want,
yeah,
I don't think they're too wise. I
yeah.
think that may be a younger group of kids saying that
And
because
I will
older
add
people,
an
yeah,
addendum. Like the majority
yeah,
of the people that I have seen, that I'm just saying they're not married. I'm just putting it out there. So yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'm just putting it out there. But look, one more point about
yeah.
Will Smith that I want to make. Okay,
Okay.
the point that the last point is, how has it become normalized that a man can get up and just smack somebody, go sit down, and there's no consequence? But secondly, um, he got it there, and during his acceptance speech, which was the first time that he's won an Oscar, um,
Yeah.
it
He
took
should got
me,
for concussion, but that's another story.
yeah. But he also, it kind of took away from the Williams sisters, because the movie was based on
Yeah.
their father. I mean, so there's a lot of things working, but he talked about love. I was like, I know, I read the Bible. I know what the Bible says about love. That wasn't love that we displayed. So that was really hypocritical. And they gave him a standing ovation. You know,
Yeah.
he got a standing ovation.
Well. Listen. Like you said before, where has it become normalized where you can go up there and slap? No, that's not normal.
Yeah,
If that, like I said, that's a multi-millionaire slapping another multi-millionaire sitting in an audience full of multi-millionaires.
yeah.
I think Shane Sharp broke it down. He said that when you open hand slap a man, that's like the worst thing. That's like the ultimate
Man,
disrespect.
I was talking about this at work the other day. I was like, man, you can hit me with a closed fist as hard as you want to, but
Yeah,
you open slap a man, that's like the that's like the
yeah,
ultimate. That's the ultimate.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So average, no, don't go slapping no man. Look, here's what they say. James, James, he protected his wife honor,
Yeah.
at his funeral.
Yeah, and
You
it's
know what I'm
true.
saying?
Yeah.
At his
Yeah.
funeral. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, let's exercise wisdom, and let's not put ourselves in those type of situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on. Hey, while we're talking, hey, look, if you're out there listening, let us know your take on the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith issue. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. Now the more substantive things.
So in case you didn't know, I don't know. I think that this is kind of unprecedented in my view.
Okay.
I think when you deal with the executive branch and you deal with the legislative branch, we oftentimes know that there's hypocrisy that goes, and we also oftentimes know that sometimes there are family members who get themselves in the situations that reflect negatively on their on their respective on the person who's in Congress. But I think this is the first time that I've ever seen from the judicial branch, specifically the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas. Um, his wife his wife, Virginia Thomas, she attended the, I'm going to say, well, you can argue whether it was a part of it was a rally, the other part was an insurrection, but we know that what President Trump labeled was the Stop the Steal rally. That was the name of it. Stop the Steal. Virginia Thomas, she attended the Stop the Steal rally. And
let them know who Virginia Thomas is. Let them know who she is.
Yeah, Virginia Thomas is the
Yeah.
Virginia Thomas is the wife of Supreme Court Associate Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, and she attended a Stop the Steal rally, which later turned into an insurrection. I don't think I've ever seen that where someone that represents the Supreme Court, their spouse, was involved in something like this. She put out a statement and said that she left, but she wasn't involved in any other planning or anything like that. But then we know that a couple of days ago, President Trump's former President Trump, his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, he was the subject of the January 6th investigation. And through some of his text messages that were released, we found out that Virginia Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, was in communication with him. Basically, I've read the text. Basically, participating in the coup that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know even what it says.
Look. Remember Onyx? But wait, it gets worse.
Yeah.
Look, man, and people want to say that conspiracy theories, things of that nature. Listen, one thing we know that we can honestly say, right, without a doubt, whether you follow politics or not, can we agree on this end? Because we don't agree on everything. Can we agree that this is probably the most partisan, ideologically divided Supreme Court ever?
I think we can agree, but I think before we need to hit pause, and we need to, for the people out there in the audience who may not know how we got here.
Okay. Yeah. So yes, because the reason why I want to say that, Mama calling, man. Mama know we got tell Mama we got the show. So reason why I preface with that is because, first of all, we got to go back and remember, how did we get Mark Meadows' text?
Yes.
Because remember, the Trump administration sued all the way to the Supreme Court, right? To keep this information from being released to the January 6th committee, right? How many people on the Supreme Court? 9? Is it 9 justices? I think?
It's 9 justices.
9 justices, right?
Yeah.
Every justice voted to release the information except Clarence Thomas.
Yes.
That is not a coincidence.
Yes.
That's why I said, because listen, when you have a court that's divided from a Sotomayor all the way to the Alito, to those ideological extremes.
Yes.
And you have even Roberts, and you have all of the justices agreeing, even the most partisan ones.
Even the ones that were appointed by President Trump.
Even the ones that were Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and who's the lady?
Amy Coney Barrett.
Amy Coney Barrett. Even those 3 that were appointed by Trump, who they were counting on, who they were counting on helping them steal the election, even they voted to release the information.
Yeah.
But the lady that was conspiring to overthrow the election with Mark Meadows and her husband, they voted not to send it.
Yeah.
That definitely bears mentioning. Yeah. And so I know a lot of people are saying they should impeach Clarence Thomas, right?
Yeah.
I tell you, man, I think I know people out there in Google land might want to help me out, but I think that the only Supreme Court justice to ever be impeached was I want to say Salmon P. Chase.
Yeah, you got me. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it was Salmon P. Chase. So it was the Supreme Court justice, and he was impeached because of partisanship.
Yeah.
This type of thing here. So it goes to show you. But definitely that is unprecedented to have a wife of the Supreme Court. And the fact that Clarence Thomas did not recuse himself from that because sometimes the appearance, some people will recuse themselves just to get rid of the appearance of impropriety.
Correct.
Or conflict of interest. Just the appearance would have them recuse themselves.
Yeah.
This man got a whole wife.
Yeah.
Who's involved in it, who's planning it.
Yes.
And then the thing that incriminated her, that information that was going to incriminate her husband had a vote and decision on it. And you can't make this stuff up.
Well, we don't know if he knew that this information was going to come out. So we did those. I think we don't know that. Even with that being said, I think the fact that his wife even went to the Stop the Steal rally, that was the name of it, I think he should have recused himself.
Man, look, the fact that his wife was communicating, and he know his wife was communicating.
His wife was communicating before the rally also.
Yeah, exactly. She was part of the process. Now, it's hard pressed for me to believe that, Clarence and Virginia Thomas are sitting up in their couches and they're talking and having conversation and they're watching TV, watching this go on. It's hard pressed for us to believe that they didn't have conversations about this or that he was not aware of her activities or her political activities. Because she's out there in that, you have people who lean left, you have people who lean right ideologically, you got people moderates. And then you have what they call wing nuts. And these are people whether you're right or left, that are way out there on the ideological spectrum, right?
Yeah.
And that's where Virginia Thomas falls. She falls way out there. And there's no doubt that her beliefs are definitely impact what her husband believes and thinks, which is evidenced by his vote on that case.
Yeah. Hey Pam, what's up? How you doing? Pam just you can read the comment on the page, but I didn't know that she was raising money for transportation for folks to get there. I had no idea.
Yeah. Oh no, she was intricately involved. She's the lock, stock, and barrel.
Yeah.
And so, but like I said, I'm not saying that, Supreme Court wives or husbands, they can have everybody has their political beliefs and how they vote and things of that nature, right? But her level of activity is just a little bit extreme for a sitting to be the spouse of a sitting Supreme Court justice.
Yeah. And
for her to be directly involved in the attempted overthrow and coup of the government and the organizing, and things of that nature, that's definitely concerning.
Well, I think there's a reason why people did not want this January 6th committee. And again, we don't know what they have. I mean, so and that's the thing. We don't know what they have, but I think for the people who are involved, I would imagine they're sweating. They're sweating bullets.
Look, well, I know what I can't think who's the majority whip, the congressman from South Carolina, Clay Clyburn. I think it's a
Yeah,
Clyburn.
Clyburn. Yes.
Yeah, and he said something in the beginning. One of the first interviews he did, he was talking about how he has two offices, right? One office is with his name on it, and that has, everybody knows where it is. Then there's another office where his staffers is that nobody knows,
Yeah.
right? And he said that, some of the riders knew exactly where to go. If you ever been in the Capitol building on a field trip, it's massive. It's like a maze. But he said the way that these people knew exactly where to go, knew exactly where the rooms were. He said there's no doubt, and it's going to come out.
It's gonna come out. It's gonna come out.
That people, that congressmen were actually involved in assisting those people, letting them know where to go and where not to go, and things of that nature. So it's definitely going to come out. The only thing that I'm that's giving me pause is that we're going to get into it when we talk about Ketanji Jackson, about how her sentencing guidelines, about how they sentence people. You got a threshold or discretion for the most time and less time. It amazes me that the majority of those protesters or rioters or insurrectionists, they were given the least amount of time possible in a lot of those cases.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been lost on me at all.
Pam, I think the DOJ is going to do something. I mean, these investigations are running concurrent with each other, and I think the focus is on different things. But what I do know is the truth is going to come out, and I know, I talk to people all the time, and it just amazes me where it just doesn't seem like it's a big deal. I don't know. We kind of talked about the Capitol riot a few episodes ago, but this is a big deal because I think now what we see is that every level of government, the first, second, third estate, were all involved in some form or another with this. We're trying to overturn an election. All three levels of government.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that the military was told to stand down.
Correct. So it's going to come out
when they were called for help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all this comes out.
And there's a reason why Kevin McCarthy, if you don't know him, he's probably at least in my opinion, when it comes to, he's the minority leader in the on the House Republican side. Probably one of the most ineffective minority leaders in some time. I just think he's a coward. But before we get there's a reason why he's saying if he wins that he's going to disband the committee. But keep in mind, the DOJ is still investigating. So the truth is going to come out whether it be on the House side or whether it's going to be on the DOJ side, the Department of Justice side.
Yeah. Yeah, I think unfortunately with the Republican caucus, and disclaimer, like I said, I'm unaffiliated. I don't, I'm not Democrat or Republican, but I call them like I see them. I think unfortunately with Kevin McCarthy, when it comes to Republican caucus, the Republican Party has been taken over by the wing nuts. Yeah. By that Queer Nine, Oath Keeper faction, that rabbit, that base, those people. I think the Republican Party has been influenced, unfortunately, by them.
Well, I would argue that they were that, and I talk about the political class. Let's talk about the political class and then the people. These people are all so we got to separate that. The political class. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now the political class, those are the ones that elected Biden. Yeah. Those are the ones, because you remember how how on the ballot, how could it have been like in North Carolina, right, mm-hmm. or in places, certain states, how can I say it? How every Republican won except Trump.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
That means a lot of Republicans voted Republicans. The Republicans did well. Yeah. Right? If all the Republicans that voted for regular Republicans, voted for Trump, he would have won.
He would have won. Yeah.
So you basically what you had when you say the political class, you had a whole lot of Republicans on that ballot. They voted for every Republican on that ballot except for Trump.
Yeah.
Because they recognize, okay, they didn't say I'm not going to vote for Biden. You had people who were literally they didn't like Biden, but they were literally voting because they saw this man Trump as an existential threat. Excuse me, I forgot how to talk to the Republic.
Yeah, but it was still close. I mean, that's the thing.
It was still close. Yeah, it was.
It was still close.
Look, closer than I thought it was going to be. To be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I just think that when it's all said and done, I think there are a lot of people who are concerned. And let's not forget this. Before this commission was originally formed, a Republican member, and I forgot his name. He was actually what's the word I'm looking for? Negotiating the rules. They were negotiating the rules of the committee, and they agreed that they were going to have an equal subpoena power. The Republican member, I got to remember what his name is, but anyway, that they were going to have equal subpoena power, equal representation. But what happened is that Kevin McCarthy, he put Jim Jordan, who was also mentioned in the January 6th commission, he put him on the committee, and that's when Nancy Pelosi said that he can't be on the committee. So eventually, it was a bipartisan committee.
Yeah, that was intentional. He did that to blow it up.
Correct.
Basically.
Correct.
And here's the thing: in the beginning, in the aftermath, most of the Republicans were condemning Trump, were condemning what happened, and everything. Even Lindsey Graham gave a forceful.
Yeah.
That was a political class.
Yes.
But when he was walking to the airport and all those Trumpers almost attacked him,
yeah,
and he saw on the ground some of those fanatics,
yeah,
he changed his tune. So a lot of these people know what happened.
Yeah. But
unfortunately, and I'm not saying that every Trump supporter, is like the mob. That's not the case. I know some rational thinking Trump supporters, but when you say that Trump controls that mob element that's within the party, or no, they're not even in the party, just out there in Neverland, he controls that group.
Correct.
And a lot of Republicans who have families and things of that nature, they are scared of these people.
Yeah.
Because these people will resort to violence. They'll show up to your house.
Mm-hmm.
When you see what they did, they try to run you off the road. They do all kind of crazy.
They tried to kidnap Governor. They tried to kidnap the governor of Governor Whitaker of that's Michigan, right?
Yeah. Look. They'll show up to the Capitol with bear spray.
Mm-hmm.
They'll wipe feces. That's animalistic level there.
Yeah.
That's an animalistic level of depravity there.
Yeah.
They'll wipe feces on the walls of the Capitol building.
Yeah.
So he has that group in his pocket.
Yeah. So,
be as you may, so that's what we're working with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as more facts come out, we'll talk about it as more facts come out. But like I say, the truth is going to come out, and I can't wait until they start. Before I get there, like me and my brother, we're both unaffiliated voters. Not a Republican or a Democrat, and we both voted for Republicans and Democrats. But I will say one thing. It is even for me, as being a political junkie and been following politics for a long time, it is still hard to imagine how far the Republican Party has come. When you think about Lauren Boebert, you think about Madison Cawthorn, you think about Marjorie Taylor Greene. They are on the fringe side of the Republican Party, and it's just really I don't know. It's a race to the bottom, and I'm still trying to figure out who's winning between those three.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. And people say, well, you don't, y'all don't talk about the Democratic Party, the stuff they do, right? But my thing is,
I get that too.
yeah, I get that too. I get it, but listen, if Biden was up there, if Biden's up there courting white supremacists, if Biden's up there telling armed, dangerous militia groups to stand down and stand by,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If he's up there, if you look at all the
Good people on both sides.
yeah, there's good people on both sides. Whites, because I'm talking from the perspective of African American.
Yeah.
And if you're up there courting white supremacists, look, I'm not voting for the man that the Klan voted for.
Yeah.
Because something you said that resonates, you know what I'm saying? Look. People say, well, Trump's not a racist. Okay. But all the people who tend to be in these racist groups support him.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. So, yeah. So if the Democratic Party is out there doing crazy stuff like that, I could care less about the culture wars.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about straight policy and things of that nature.
Correct.
If they're out there doing those crazy things, then they will get the business.
Correct.
But right now, it's the elements of the Republican Party with the insurrection, okay?
Yeah.
So, and those things is going on. So, yeah. See, I know they get it once you get the Democratic Party, like I said, nah. When they start doing crazy stuff like this,
Correct.
when they start having Marjorie Taylor Greens and all this stuff, then we'll get them.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna, we saved the best for last, and I think we're gonna talk about Judge Brown, her confirmation hearings, and I would tell you, I watched probably 99% of the hearing. I'm fortunate enough to be able to watch it at work, and so I watched a lot of it. So, but I watched all of it.
Trent said praise and food.
Okay. Yeah.
Class of night. Look, have a good shout to class of 1990. Trent Johnson, pay your praise and food.
Yeah. I just lost my train of thought. Oh, the confirmation hearing.
Yeah.
I watch all the confirmation hearings because I just think that it's part of being an informed citizen. But yeah, I was I don't know. At times it was hard to watch, but before we go there, I'm just going to play just a couple of snippets of some of the nonsense that took place.
Okay.
Hold on.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how faithful would you say you are in terms of religion?
Well, Senator, I am reluctant to talk about my faith in this way just because I want to be mindful of the need for the public to have confidence in my ability to separate out my personal views.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah,
I can't.
you can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the
biologist.
meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
In my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the
All right.
law and I decide. So I'm not.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about.
Portion of the book says babies are taught to be racist or anti-racist. There is no neutrality. Another portion of the book, they recommend to babies confess when being racist. Now, this is a book that is taught at Georgetown Day School to students in pre-K through second grade, so 4 through 7 years old. Do you agree with this book that is being taught with kids that babies are racist?
Senator,
I do not believe that any child should be made to feel as though they are racist or though they are not valued or though they are less than, that they are victims, that they are oppressors. I don't believe in any of that. But what I will say is that when you asked me whether or not this was taught in schools, critical race theory, my understanding is that critical race theory as an academic theory is taught in law schools. And to the extent that you were asking the question, I understood you to be addressing public schools. Georgetown Day School, just like the religious school that Justice Barrett was on the board of, is a private school.
Okay, so you agree critical race theory is taught at Georgetown Day School?
I don't know, because the board is not, the board does not control the curriculum. The board does not focus on that. That's not what we do as board members. So I'm actually not sure. But what I will say is that when you asked me whether or not this was taught in schools, critical race theory, my understanding is that critical race theory as an academic theory is taught at
Yeah. Let's start out with Lindsey Graham. On a scale of 1 to 10, how religious are you? I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think later on in that comment, I think the reason why to give a little context, he was doing that because, if I'm not mistaken, because of a question that was asked to Annie, is it Conan Barrett?
Yes.
A question that was asked to her about her faith and about whether she would allow her faith to dictate, her decisions on the court.
Yeah.
And things of that nature, right? But to your point, yeah, I mean, yeah, Lindsey Graham, he, like I said, one thing I give Republicans, I give them credit for, right? I give them credit for their messaging.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody is in lockstep. And one thing that the Republicans have mastered, I can agree. I believe it's my opinion, but that on the policy, on straight policy, they can't win on the policy issues.
No.
Right? I don't think they can. But they do have these things of stirring up these culture wars, transgenderism and criminal race theory, whether you live in a Republican area and your Republican area has been in poverty for years and low income, low education, running these Republican areas, they don't care about that. But doggone, if that transgender boy gets rights and whatever, then that's what they're going to vote on. That's what they clearly understand that.
Yeah.
And you see that evidence in some of the questions that's been asked of Ms. Brown to reinforce those culture wars that they put out there through Fox and other propaganda forms of media.
And I think one thing that was interesting was Senator Marsha Blackburn when she was doing her questioning, and I just had to go look up her education because I was just curious. Senator Marsha Blackburn has a degree in home economics. Now, I'm not disparaging anybody that has a degree in home economics, but
nope.
you can just imagine, and I think this is for all the Supreme Court nominees, having people question you about your views and about things that you studied your whole life. I can just imagine how it feels to sit there and just have to answer those questions. Tom Tillis, who's a senator from North Carolina, he's not even a lawyer. I thought you had to be a lawyer to be on the Judiciary Committee, but he's not even a lawyer. But the thing is that one of the things that I noticed is that when you look at all the people, Marsha Blackburn, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, They asked questions that they know she could not answer.
Yeah.
And then they ran the Fox News so that
Yeah.
they can have that false outrage. You know?
Yeah. They play the loop, right?
Yeah.
And then if you look, I look at some of my friends who tend to lean to the right. I don't call them Republicans. I call them ideologues. And you look at their pages, they act like they mock one. What is a woman?
Yeah.
Everybody knows what a woman is. I say, if you ask me what a woman is, I mean, look, what context are you asking it in?
Correct.
Right? Because you have a lot of women who may be in their 30s but not mature.
Yeah.
Right. So it just depends. Or men. What's a man? I was taught that a man's a man. A man's a person that goes to work.
Yeah.
And is a leader and provides for his family. That's why. That's subjective, right?
Correct.
So, a male may have the sex organ. A male, but what makes a person a man is something that's subjective.
Correct.
But that's how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
To even ask that question. And what does that have to do with whether you can how you interpret the United States Constitution?
Yeah.
Or interpret laws. What does that have to do with anything? But to your point, it's for the sound bites. It's for the Breitbarts. It's for the Western Journal. It's for the Daily Caller. And, because I read through those things. It's for the Patriot, 125 on Sirius FM, Sirius Radio. It's for those people who absorb that type of stuff every day.
Yeah. And I think the other Ted Cruz, interesting fella out of Texas. Actually, let me rephrase that. Raphael Edward Cruz, which is his real name.
Yeah.
He goes by Ted, but his name is Raphael Cruz.
Yeah.
They have taken,
Canada.
Huh? What'd you say?
Remember he wanted Obama's birth certificate, right?
Yeah.
I think Cruz was born in Canada. I'm just saying.
Born in Canada. Yeah. I mean, he tried to when you watch the hearing and you talk about the particular part about education. He tried to do a bait and switch, and basically what that means is he asked Judge Brown if critical race theory is being taught in public schools, and her answer was I don't know, and then he brought up a private school that she's on the board of, and then started talking about critical race theory. I didn't catch it at first, but one of my coworkers actually caught it. Because they talk so fast, So he asked about public school, but he mentioned private school, and I'm glad that Judge Jackson also mentioned that Amy Coney Barrett sat on the board of a religious school. Private schools do not have the same curriculum as public schools. I think most people know that. But to the point about critical race theory, books aren't necessarily critical race theory. They have taken a term and they have defined it the way that they want to define it. You are an educator, right? I know when it comes to curriculum, you have a set plan that you're going to teach, and then you have companion books that you can use to kind of augment the lesson. But just because those books exist, it doesn't mean that they're actually being used in the lesson. Am I on point with that?
Yeah, and so exactly. There's a curriculum. So that's why, like I said, Ted Cruz, they appeal to the surface thinkers, right? They're not going to dig beyond the surface. People ask, is critical race theory being taught in schools, right?
Yeah. Look,
you can go to the North Carolina DPI webpage. You can pull up the standard course of study for every history class, right?
Yes.
And look at what is taught or what's required to be taught. But what they have done, I hate to beat this dog again. What they have done, they have taken, like you just said, taken critical race theory, and they have defined it as anything that calls out or discusses racism whatsoever.
Yeah.
which is totally not the case.
Yeah.
So now you have teachers who are now afraid of, oh, I can't teach about slavery.
Yeah.
Or if now the state legislators are taking it to say, if you teach anything about any type of Jim Crow, anything that happened, whatever, that's critical race theory, and those type of things.
Yeah.
And they've used that as just the pitch the big lie, right?
Yeah.
Pitch the lie, repeat the lie, then once you
rinse
get
and
people
repeat.
riled up, showing up to the school board meetings, now you legislate and pass legislation based on the lie.
Correct. But all in all, I think that she, I don't know if you remember the look that she gave Ted Cruz. I think that everybody has that look. I mean, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
But look, she handled herself very well.
Yeah.
I remember the day before the hearings even started.
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham said, "Well, we're going to be tough, and I know that they're going to already accuse us of being racist, accuse us of being, racially insensitive. I know we're already just because we're going to be tough on them. No. If you got to preempt,
yeah,
the hearing by saying that, you already know. And I'm not saying that calling them racist, but I do know that I've watched enough. I've been watching confirmation hearings since Thomas.
Yeah.
Clarence Thomas. That was must see TV.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been watching these hearings since Clarence Thomas, and I know that both sides can be tough in questioning the potential nominees. I've seen it, right?
Yeah.
But in the ones I've seen, and they've been on both sides, they've been kind of disrespectful on both sides. I can see it, right? But I can tell that with this one here, there's a little edge and condescension that goes along with it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they were yelling at her. They wouldn't let her finish questions. I mean, I was, it was at points it was hard to watch.
Yeah, and then she has to be. And the thing about it is, she has to be calm. And I know in her, because I know she has a lot of pride and dignity. And I know there was times she wanted to just say, "Hey, y'all fools!" Look, she doesn't have the luxury that Brett Kavanaugh has. Brett Kavanaugh to go on an angry, twisted, yelling rant.
Yeah.
And get support he really did what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the luxury to show that, or even if that was in her, to even respond in a manner that shows her emotion or her anger because of the angry black woman trope. So
but she's built that way. The fact that she's even where she is, it shows that she
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I remember an answer that she gave, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I most people know that I did 20 years, 1 month, and 16 days in the Air Force.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you. And I've had some pretty, I'll just call it like it is. I have been subject to racism, and there have been times in my military career where I felt like I was out there by myself, but all it took was some person, and the majority of the time it was a brother or a sister that kind of older, as a mentor, that kind of pulled me to the side and told me to keep my head up. And I think that most people that's achieved a level of success in life, particularly in our community, they've always had someone like that. And I gotta tell you. Well, I'll show this video first.
Okay.
But don't worry, my sister. Don't worry. God has got you. And how do I know that? Because you're here. And I know what it's taken for you to sit in that seat.
I made a post when I saw that. I said, man, everybody has to have a Cory Booker in their life. Because, it she was just getting beat down, and I can tell. I mean, you're human, and I can tell that it was kind of getting to her. I mean, you could see that. But then you have someone like Cory Booker who came in and just had to remind her of her excellence and remind her what it took for her to get to where she is, to remind her that God is on her side. That was refreshing to see. And I don't know. I think that was one of the high points for me of seeing someone come, to her and let her know, no, keep your head up. You got this.
Yeah, and I think, man, listen, I remember, man, and I think, I attended a HBCU. I make no bones about it. And anybody and most people um, that attend HBCUs, they will tell you about that one professor. Everybody's always heard this speech, freshman year, whatever. That one professor that says, "Look, as um, as an African American in this society, you're going to have to be twice as good. You're going to be measured by whether it was true or not. This is what they told us, and this is how they prepared us. You got to be twice as good, work twice as hard to get half the credit. You're going to be judged by a different standard, and so and that's how they went about. That's how they went about, instilling us. And as you navigate through society, not his excuse, you can see where that's played out sometimes.
Correct.
Where a lot of things, where your competence and your abilities are going to be called into question.
Yeah.
Just like you said, this woman sitting here they're talking about qualifications. She's sitting here with a whole Harvard undergrad and graduate degree, and you got the lady with the home ec degree question her about what a woman is.
Yeah.
Right. And so those are the type of things. And I think the best story that I think she told the story, I think, when she was at Harvard undergrad.
Yeah, she was feeling all alone. Yeah.
And she was all alone, feeling, some kind. Well, I can imagine, you're up there, with the legacy admissions and all those people who, that parent, and she's up there with Mammy, and she had that look, that college kids get sometimes on campus for various reasons, And she said that this black, I don't know, it was a professor or something, for her walking, and just called and told her to persevere.
Yeah, persevere.
She understood, because, like I said, what the opportunity you have, you're opening doors for other people, and the fact that I can imagine the slights and the disappointments that Miss Brown had to be the first in this 200-year-old country, to be the first African American woman appointed to the Supreme Court. There are people who believe, and I think this has a lot to do with the way she's being treated. Some people really believe that, they have an issue when African Americans or people of color or women, whatever, come into spaces that are perceived to be for another group.
Yeah.
And you're taking a spot from somebody that's more deserving or more qualified. When in reality, if you look at her resume, she's probably more qualified than half the justices on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I got to tell you, one of the, so they're going to have a judiciary committee vote next week, and what we know is that Tom Tillis came out and said no. There are a couple of people that came out and said no. So basically, it's going to be an 11-11 tie. But she's still going to get out of the committee. But there is one person in particular, out of all the senators, there's one person in particular that I have my eye on.
I think I know you. I think I know. I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna write it down right quick. I think I know
that senator.
Let me write it down right quick. I'm gonna put his initial.
Yeah.
So
that senator is Senator from the state of South Carolina, Tim Scott.
Tim, what's that, Casey? Hold up.
Yeah, yeah. I saw it.
Tim Scott.
Tim
Yeah, Tim
Scott.
Scott.
Tim Scott is going to have to. First of all, Tim Scott is the only African American senator on the Republican side. Okay, how is he going to vote for the first African American Supreme Court justice nomination? How is he going to vote? I want to see what Tim Scott is going to do. I want to see if Tim Scott is going to say that he's not going to vote for this woman because she's not qualified. Even though he voted for Brett Kavanaugh, even though he voted for Amy Coney Barrett, even though he voted for Neil Gorsuch, and then when you put her resume and her qualifications, her depth and breadth of experience against those last three, she is based on those standards more qualified. So Tim Scott, if you're listening, I know you're not listening, but if anybody knows Tim Scott, let him know them Smith boys. We're watching to see. We want to see how he's going to vote.
And when it comes to Tim Scott, let's not confuse his skin color with his constituency.
Well,
all right. Yeah, because his constituency, even though he knows, I remember he gave a speech at the Senate talking about how he went and he gets asked for ID, and when he goes through the racism he experiences being a senator in D.C., when people ask for his ID or think he doesn't belong in the
But
Senate,
he said America's not a racist country. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but listen, constituents, he's South Carolina, the people that vote for him, he has to mimic, if he wants to be reelected, he has to mimic what his constituency believes and thinks. If it means buying into these conspiracy theories or repeating whatever, he has to do that. So I would be surprised. It'll be unfortunate, but I would be surprised if he actually voted for her confirmation. I'll be surprised if he did. Now, it's going to be something that the only African American on the Republican side votes against the first African American woman. That's a lot, especially when the Republican Party is trying to court African American votes.
Yeah. So
that'll be something to see. But
Susan Collins out of Maine, she announced that she's going to support her nomination. And so now we just have to look at what's going to happen with Lisa Murkowski out of Alaska and Mitt Romney out of Utah. So we'll see what happens. But I don't care what anybody say. Tim Scott is thinking about this vote.
Yeah, he is. He's getting calls. He has family members and everything.
Yeah.
So he's definitely. My coworker said that he'll vote for Mr. Turtle, Mr. Turtle. Okay.
Yeah. Well, sometimes he cuts deals. I mean, this is one of the most monumental votes. I mean, this vote is gonna. I mean, this is history. This is history in the making. So we'll see.
Yeah.
What else you got, man? Before we end this.
Yeah. Look. I call this the side-eye moment of the week. And all the noise, what's going on in the news, and with the slap heard around the world and all that stuff. Joe Biden signed the Emmett Till anti-lynching act, making lynching a federal crime.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say what I said in my head when I. With extreme, with bipartisan support, everybody voted for it.
Yeah.
I think it's about 80 years too late.
Yeah.
Right.
Lynching there's lynching in the traditional sense of lynching, and then there's lynching when you look at what happened with the late Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah. Oh, was that considered a lynching?
Well, when you look at absolutely
But and actually, historically, that's how they did it.
correct.
They chased African American down and they shot and killed them or burned them out. So that's it. That's
Yeah.
lynching. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So yeah, so
Yeah, but I guess the traditional that sounds even kind of creepy.
correct.
In the tradition in the
Yeah.
traditional sense, where tens of thousands of people, they had church first, Sunday afternoons, and they'll 10,000 to show up, and they will shoot, cut, and burn somebody to death, and then take parts of the body and those type of things.
Yeah.
That was going on in the South, even with Emmett Till. Yeah, but that's not happening today, per se,
Yeah.
right? So I guess they redefined it for modern times, but still, though,
Yeah.
I still think it's rather symbolic. I
Yeah.
think that is still 80 years, 100 years, 70 years too late, because anti-lynching legislation has always been put through Congress, and it always been shot down because they knew it was a means. The people who want to keep controlling the South, politicians, knew it was a means of control.
Yeah.
That's why it never made out of committee, even though it was brought up several times in history. But nevertheless, yeah.
What are you watching out for over the next 2 weeks?
Man, spring break.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
As a teacher, spring break. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the Ukraine, how this situation is going to end up, because the Ukrainians have put up a bigger fight than people thought. Those type of things. I'm curious to see what kind of relief is there going to be any when it comes what they can do about inflation and these gas prices. I know they're starting to come down a little bit, but Ukraine, inflation, gas prices,
President Biden just said that he's going to release 1 million barrels a day from the strategic reserve, and then he's also going to find gas companies that are kind of holding on to